Oh my god, lads. What a time to be alive. Oh my god, lads! What a time to be alive! Listen, okay, I almost slipped there. I genuinely did not think there was ever going to be a scenario on this channel that I would ever get to talk about this series, DeadRising, let alone the game that we're going to be speaking about today in this video, DeadRising 1. Now, do not get my excitement misconstrued. I did not like this game for many years, DeadRising 1. My favorite game in the franchise was always, ever since childhood, was DeadRising 2. And the reason why I never really enjoyed the first game is because DeadRising 1 is a very unique game, in the sense that on a very surface level, it seems like any other run-of-the-mill zombie action game, when realistically there's so much more to it that unfortunately isn't really explained in the game itself, and honestly hinders people's enjoyment of the game. Because I can definitely assure you, it did for me, and I understand why a lot of people have so many hiccups when it comes to this game and don't fully realize how wonderful it is. One thing that I feel as though a lot of people get hung up on when it comes to this game is Frank. Now let's talk about Frank for a second. Frankwest! Oh my god! What was that song in Off the Record? I think it was. His name's Frankwest! Yo! Who did they have on the vocal? Oh, I'm sorry. Franklin Westerson. In so many other games, right, you play as a human, but the things that you do in these games are so supernatural. You're almost a superhero. And this is a Capcom game. I mean, we have protagonists like Dante Nero, Chris Redfield, Leon S. Kennedy. I mean, some of these lot are humans, but they do extraordinary things. This is not Frankwest. Frankwest is just a photojournalist. People come into this game and have this notion that they're gonna save everybody, that they're gonna defeat every boss, that they're going to have and find every survivor. You're not. Okay? Like, you're not going to do that on your first playthrough. You are a human. You are Frankwest. You are not a superhero. And that's where a lot of people's frustration comes in. A lot of people just don't understand that this is a game that is meant to be replayed. This is a game that you are not meant to see and do everything in your very first playthrough, cause you're gonna get fucked. No lube, raw, it's gonna hurt, my nigga. Like, why'd you say that? No, like, why, like, no, like, I'm being, why did you say that just then? There was no reason to go with that analogy. This game is set up in a way where the more you play it, the more you understand the mechanics, the more you understand how the cases interconnect with each other, where the placement of items are, where survivors are. It's going to aid you on your subsequent playthroughs, because I don't, like, again, in other games, you can do it all. You can be this photojournalist who comes into this zombie apocalypse and just somehow saves the world. But not this game. You are just a human. But the more you level up, the more you get knowledge of the game, you can proceed to do it all. I'll tell you, I had one of probably my final full playthrough of Dead Rising 1 for the time being. I finished it about a day ago, I think. It was the best playthrough of this game I've ever had. And I wish I recorded footage of my gameplay, because I was just beasting through the game in ways that I never even knew were possible. Because like, even up until like earlier this year, I didn't understand how this game played. I was getting fucked up, lads. I was getting throttled in this game. But you know, like I said before, it's not a game that you can't have fun with on your first playthrough. But if you're coming into it expecting to do it all, to see it all, to have the full-on experience, you're doing a disservice to yourself, because you're just going to be frustrated. There are so many aspects of this game that are poorly explained, and I'll get to that later on in the video. This game does not do a very good job of explaining the more advanced mechanics of how it plays, and so I'll get to it at a later date. But unfortunately, with the information of how the game works not being explained, it makes people frustrated with the gameplay, when realistically, it's excellent mechanics put into a game, if explained to the player more concisely or at all, would have made this game more enjoyable for more people, in my opinion. It would have been more enjoyable for me instead of having to learn this through like secondhand word from other people in the fandom. So let's talk about one of the most infamous things about this game. The survivors. Oh god, the survivors. Listen, when I tell you, I was always a huge Dead Rising fan, right, growing up. And one thing that I always was so confused about was hearing people talk about bad AI in video games. And one of the always top things people used to say was Ashley from Resident Evil 4. I was all like, because I never played Resident Evil 4 until like 2019. And so I always had this misconception that Ashley must be the dumbest artificial intelligent being on the planet, because I remember playing Dead Rising as a kid and being all like, these niggas are fucking stupid as fuck. Goddamn! I'm like, anytime you heard anybody talk about bad AI in video games, it was always Ashley Graham from Resident Evil 4. And then I played it for the first time. Actually, it might have been before 2019. I don't remember what year it was. But then I played it for the first time. I was like, y'all think she has bad AI? Have y'all played Dead Rising? See, the issue with Dead Rising, right, is that, again, it's excellent mechanics in a game that for the first iteration of a game is great, but it didn't get fully vitalized. Is that the word? I'm not sure what word I'm looking for. It never got fully refined. So the thing about the survivors in Dead Rising is that there are, in my experience, 3 different types. There are the regular survivors, which are the best ones. There are the cowards, and then there are the aggressors. Now, the aggressors and the cowards are usually the survivors that people hate the most. And the reason being is that the cowards are survivors that will stop listening to Frank's instructions and just stop moving, cower, sit on the ground, and start crying. And then the aggressors are survivors that, if you give them a weapon, they will just start mowing down any zombie in the general vicinity of where they are. And so when people play Dead Rising for the very first time, they're getting these survivors, yeah? And they don't know that there are different types of survivors. It's never explained in the game. So when you're running back to the safe house, with the survivors, and then you look behind you and you just see some nigga all the way in the back having his own personal John Wick side mission, you're like, yo, I'm telling you to run, nigga. Why aren't you running? And then you have fucking Billy Bob over in the corner just bitching like, nigga, run! You think the game's broken, but it's not broken. It's a mechanic that, again, unfortunately is never explained in the game, and you're looking at the game and you're looking at the mechanics of the game thinking that it's broken when it's actually doing exactly what it's supposed to do. But as much as I love this game, it's still, again, like I said, amazing mechanics, not refined. The AI in this game is still very shit. The pathing in this game is extremely frustrating, to the point where, for me, when I have to bring survivors back to the safe house, you kind of have to know specific areas of the map, and unfortunately there are specific areas of the map that survivors do get stuck on pretty frequently. And if you're a newcomer to this game and you don't know the different types of survivors, and you don't know that there are specific areas of the game that break the survivors more than others, you're gonna have a bad time. Because again, great mechanic to have different types of survivors, shit pathing. Shit pathing though, because survivors will just get stuck on geometry. Sometimes they'll put themselves in a pit and not know how to jump out for whatever reason, and then you have to keep calling them for them to learn that they can just step out of the fucking geometry. Sometimes they'll get stuck indoors, other times they'll know to go past it. It's just, it can really be a big headache. And if you're not privy to these aspects of this game, it can really make your experience with the title extremely frustrating. I know it was for me for many years. And unfortunately, when I say that these aspects of the game, it really does bother me how, because if you're familiar with the DeadRising series, you know that the survivors realistically are an aspect of the game which every time you go to the next game, DeadRising 2 probably off the record, DeadRising 3, DeadRising 4, their survivor gameplay actually gets weaker and weaker the more you go on. And it's because people did not, again, because it wasn't explained in the gameplay that there were different types of survivors. So people got it misconstrued that the survivor AI that is purposeful and the glitches that clearly weren't purposeful were one and the same, when there are two different issues placed together. One just a technical issue, and one just a lack of information told to the player. And so instead of continuing to refine the survivor AI in the subsequent games, they just dumbed it down in the next game, which honestly just kind of sucks. I feel like DeadRising 1 has so much going for it that unfortunately a lot of players, and nope, I won't even go there, that unfortunately a lot of players did not realize was a part of the gameplay. Again, I just want to reiterate, you are not a superhuman in this game. Because another thing that people don't quite understand is and I'm not too sure if this is properly explained in the game. I think it is, honestly, but I think it's in one of those like menu things at the start of the game that I feel like a lot of people just skim through and don't actually read. I don't know, I'm illiterate, so I can't read. This game really comes down to, you can play it however you want. If you want to go through the main story, you can. If you just want to do the side missions, you can. If you just want to go on a zombie killing rampage, you can. But people trying to do it all in the first playthrough, and you're not Superman, bitch! Stop it! I pull out a gun on you right now and it's lights out, nigga! And so some people just try to play this game and try to like beast through the main story while trying to get all the I'm sorry. Yo, I played this game. Listen, y'all. I've been playing this game multiple times. I think in the past week, I think in this year alone, I finished this game like 9-10 times, yeah? I'm fully leveled. Full, maxed out, level 50. I know this game inside out like the back of my fucking hand. Obviously, not with the gloves on, but wait. The back of my hand? Does that mean... this is the back? But they also say I know it like the palm of my hand. Is the palm the... what the hell? I'm gonna be honest, I high-key forgot what I was talking about. But oh, so I was playing through this game max level. I know this game inside out like the back of the palm of my hands, yeah? And there were two specific times where I was literally cutting it close with scoops just almost missing the time allocated to do them. Because this game is on a timer. I'm sorry if I didn't explain that for people who don't know much about this game. This game is on a time scale. So every sort of mission, you have a time allotted to complete said mission. And if you don't do it, you'll either lose the game, which isn't really losing because you can still continue to play the game, you just can't do the main story parts anymore, or you just will lose a side mission. And even with the extensive knowledge that I have about this game, there were still times where I was cutting it close, my guy. My lord, I knew I was gonna be able to do it, but the whole time I'm thinking like, I know what these cases are. You get me? Like, I know, oh, this is a boss fight. Or this is a survivor where I have to carry them, meaning that I can't really fight while I have them on my back or while I have them on my shoulder or as I'm holding their hands. Or this is one survivor versus this is a whole group of survivors, which makes it more difficult to transport them back to the safe room. I had prior knowledge from past playthroughs to help me do all of the missions versus a player who's coming into the game for the first time. They don't know what these missions are, meaning you are fucked. No lube, dirty strap, no aftercare, premature zombification. Anyways, the thing that made this game so amazing in that final playthrough of mine was knowing, and again, I'm sorry I'm saying this again, but was knowing the map inside out. Something that a lot of other Capcom games you feel so accomplished when you can just think of, okay, I have this group of survivors on this side of the map, but there's a boss there. Do I have enough time to defeat the boss and get the survivors, or should I use a shortcut to get the survivors faster? And then after I transport them back to the safe house, just go and defeat the boss. There are so many little like hiccups in trying to save everybody. Again, fully level, know the game inside and out. I could not play this game in the way that I thought I could because I had to make little slight adjustments because either a weapon that I was using, the durability ran out, so I had to improvise and go with a different weapon, or there was a survivor that I did not, or there was a survivor that I did not know spawned at that very moment that was like, damn, I already have a group. Do I have enough time to go and get them, or should I do this instead? Yo, it was like, I legit felt like it was stressful, but also so fun. And that's what I want other people to feel when they play this game. Because once you know how it works, you're gonna have so much more fun than just like being stressed out with the time mechanics. You don't have to do everything. You don't. You can just, if you really want to, you can just go into your first playthrough, just learn how the game plays, and then level up a bunch, and then go for the main story. Or you can just go for the main story your first time around, and then afterwards, go do the side stuff. Because again, you won't do it all. You can't do it all. You are not Superman. Okay? Like, I just want so many more people to have fun with this game. Because again, because again, I understand why people don't like this game. I did not like this game, man. This game legitimately went from earlier this year, before this year, me not understanding why people enjoyed this game. And being under the camp of like, out of all the Dead Rising games, this is probably my least favorite of the ones that I've played. I've only played 1, 2, the DLCs on the Xbox 360, and then 3. I will never play Dead Rising 4. But this game legitimately went from one of my least favorite Dead Rising titles to honestly my favorite. And it's a thing of, there's so much about this game that I feel like, again, are such unique things that make this game so fun to play, even to this day, that I feel like people just didn't understand. And so in the games that came afterwards, they were either lessened or removed from the gameplay aspects. And it's kind of like, I was thinking about this. I was kind of thinking like, what if people complained about the Call of Duty aiming mechanics in the first game, and instead of Activision or whoever was developing the games at that time heard that and went, well, instead of making the aiming mechanics better, what if we just made it so the player didn't have to aim their gun at all? It's like, and this is a reference that I feel like people, and this, you're gonna have to forgive me for doing this like out-of-pocket gaming references that people might not understand, but Dead Rising 1 feels, Dead Rising 1 to Dead Rising 2, if you don't know how these games really play, they probably seem like really similar games to you. But I know from playing Dead Rising 2 so often as a kid to trying to play Dead Rising 1 as a child also, knowing that those games are like, no, they're not even, I still love them both. They both have the Dead Rising title, but those are two fundamentally different games. And it sucks because Dead Rising 1 has a foundation of a game series with mechanics that should have been refined, but never actually got fully actualized. And it would be as if, like, imagine in a world where Devil May Cry 1 came out, and you know how clunky the first games in a series are. Dead Rising 1 is clunky. I've said that. It is a clunky game. But imagine if Capcom stopped at Devil May Cry 1 and we did not ever get to see what Devil May Cry 3 would be like. Or go on to see Devil May Cry 4 or even 5. That's what it feels like Dead Rising is. Because instead of getting a revision to what was already there that could have been so much better had they stuck to it, they just went, let's just get rid of these aspects of what makes this game good. And we just got Dead Rising 2, which again, isn't a bad game, but just does not do the first game justice, in my opinion. And that's why, I might actually start crying. I didn't talk about this in this video, and I'm trying to end it currently. But Dead Rising is such a pivotal thing to just like who I am as a person in so many different ways. And to know, I thought this series was dead. I'm gonna be honest, like, I've just been following this game since the second title in 2010. 2010 was also the time that I first started uploading YouTube videos. And I was inspired by a lot of gaming Let's Players, and one of my favorite gaming Let's Players, one of his big series was DeadRising 2, and I've just like, gaming has changed so much. In the gaming landscape has just changed so much in the past 14 years, and it's so much bigger, and there's so many more eyes and so many more people, and it's like you see so many gaming series now that you think were so big as a kid, but now they're so much bigger because just the gaming landscape is so much grander today than it was in the past, yeah? And it's like, I know for a fact that this deluxe remaster is going to come out, and I don't even have to have, I know it's going to be a good game. Like, even if I don't personally like it, being such a big fan of the first DeadRising game now, I know there are probably going to be so many streamers, so many Let's Players, so many people, and it's like, I never thought this game would ever come back, this series would ever come back, or that people would, or that it would be so popular. And I know it hasn't even come out yet, so I don't even know if it's going to be popular, but trust me when I say I know this series has the capacity to be so fucking great, and the fact that it's being given a second chance is so fantastic. And I cannot fucking wait, lads. I cannot wait, lads! I can't! DeadRising 1 is my favorite game of the year. I platinumed it, got all the trophies, had my final playthrough of it yesterday or 2 days ago, and I'm looking forward to this deluxe remaster, man. I'm looking forward to DeadRising rising again from the ashes to become a staple in the gaming community once more. Let's fucking go!